Episode 278, Lightening Your Invisible Load, with Michelle Keil.
Welcome to Latter-day Life Coaches, the podcast where each episode is a conversation between me, Heather Rackham, and one of my amazing coach colleagues. Each coach here is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and a highly trained, experienced life coach making a great impact in the lives of their clients. And together, we have one main goal, helping you live your best life no matter what. You ready for this conversation with a coach? Here we go.
So many women feel overwhelmed, but can't quite explain why. In this powerful conversation with Coach Michelle Keil, Heather uncovers the hidden weight of the mental load and why trying harder isn't the solution. Michelle introduces a surprisingly simple yet profound tool, doodling, that helps women step out of overthinking, reconnect with themselves, and make more intentional choices. If you've been carrying more than anyone can see, this episode will help you feel lighter, more aware, and deeply supported. Please enjoy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I am joined today by Coach Michelle Keil. Hi, Michelle.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Heather.
Thank you for being on with me. It's always a treat to get to have you on. Michelle's been on before, so make sure you catch some of her past podcast episodes here. But Michelle, give people a quick introduction before we get going.
Yeah. So I'm Michelle Keil. I am a coach, obviously, and I live in Gilbert, Arizona, married for almost 35 years now and 6 kids and extras that have joined our family through marriage that we love. I think about a while ago on one episode, we were excited to become grandparents. And I think by the time this airs, we will be grandparents again. So we're expecting a grandson in just over a week from this recording date. But yeah, so very
Does this
exciting.
grandbaby live nearby?
Unfortunately, both of these grandbabies are siblings and they live in Tennessee. But I'm leaving to go spend 3 weeks with my granddaughter and my son-in-law and my daughter and loving that. And as a coach, I help women to learn how to quiet their inner critic and lighten their emotional load. We're going to talk about that a little bit today and reconnect with themselves through the surprisingly effective tool of doodling.
Well, Michelle said it's surprisingly effective, and I will concur with that because I have had some pretty significant shifts every time I've done some of the doodling exercises with Michelle. And I've done a lot of different coaching modalities and a lot of different things, and this one was surprising to me, I will admit, but I should stop being surprised because there are so many fantastic ways to get some shifts in our own personal progression, and this is one of them. So I'm super happy and excited to have you with us today as we talk about that. But okay, Michelle, you said you work with women. I know that, and you mentioned that. Tell me what you're seeing for women right now.
So right now it's challenging for women because so much is going on for them between their families or their work or, this sandwich generation of people our age with kids that are growing up, but they still are, the boomerang kids. They leave and they come back and they leave and they come back. But then we also have aging parents who need more help from us and things like that. And so it's challenging because it feels so heavy and they're not sure why because they've been able to manage it for so long. And they're like, it's just heavy. And it's more so that they don't realize all of the things that they're carrying, all of the things that they're holding. They know the to-do lists, they know the responsibilities, but they don't always see the mental load, as I call it, and the things that are weighing on them that are not visible to the people around them.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because I think it's built up over time, right? Like it's not like it didn't just happen because of one day. Like it's a process where it builds up and often at the at this stage in our lives, there has been a lot of buildup that has gone on without us doing a whole lot to relieve that along the way in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to, the mental load, right? What are we even talking about? What is that? And it's
Yeah.
not just I have to do the laundry and I need to make sure the kitchen is cleaned and I have this project for work and my child has this permission slip, but it's oh, I need to get laundry detergent. We're out of toothpaste. I need to make the dentist appointment for my child. It's so and so's birthday. And on top of all of those things, it is navigating the emotional weather around us, whether that's our children or our friend group or the people that we go to church with or our parents and siblings, but navigating those emotional waters as well, you know, treading kind of lightly in some of those areas that we've been doing for decades and not realizing, again, how much we're holding all of those things together. And it's not that, so when a woman says, I don't know why I feel so overwhelmed, nothing is that bad. It's usually because she's carrying a lot that is invisible. And here's where it gets tricky, right? Because most women respond to that feeling by trying to do better, to be more organized, to push a little harder, right? But when your nervous system is overloaded, more effort actually makes it heavier. It's like trying to clean a messy room by turning off the lights. Or like, if I don't look at it, then I can clean it.
Listen, that works sometimes, right? You just
It
turn off
does.
the
It
light and you
does.
walk away.
Right?
That's what you
Right?
do. But oh man.
We're like, let me clean this, but I will do it in the dark. So I don't know what I'm picking up and I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm going to try and fix this by diminishing my awareness of what's actually going on.
Yeah. Well, and the other side of that too is that by thinking that you need to do something different, or if I just do it this way or this way or this way, you're also on the back end kind of telling yourself that there's something wrong with you, that you should be able to do it differently. So then you're operating from a place of shame and guilt, which doesn't really help that much in trying to accomplish what you want to do either. So I don't know. It's an interesting bag of tricks that we try to play with ourselves. So,
Yeah,
and I have
exactly.
to say, I really appreciate your use of the phrase emotional weather. I'm going to start using that in my life. It sounds, because it really is true. And the weather is always a mixed bag. You never know what you're going to get. So
Mhm.
you have to kind of be ready for anything with anybody at any given time.
Yeah, and the weather is outside of our control, but we do try to control the weather, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're heading into Mother's Day, Michelle. And this can bring up a lot of emotions for people. I know it's a pretty mixed bag. Some people love it, some people don't love it. What do you see most often that show up for women in this time of year?
The challenge for Mother's Day, like you said, it is a mixed bag because, yes, it is a great day to celebrate the women and mothers in our life. And sometimes it's the hardest day for mothers because we're like, I'm supposed to love this. This is great, And there are so many expectations that we have put on ourselves as mothers that Mother's Day can sometimes lead us to a point of, again, spending the day in shame and guilt and disappointment in ourselves because we wanted to show up differently as a mother, right? For many, there is grief that comes along with Mother's Day, whether that's through death or through estrangement or through just strained relationships that they go through daily, that there is a grief that surrounds Mother's Day. And, we would love for it to be cards and flowers and chocolates, and it can be. And both of those things can be true at the same time, right? We can love and appreciate the love that is shown to us on that day, and it can be hard. And so how can we make space for both of those things at once without making either of them wrong?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think maybe in answering that question, which is where, we'll kind of go through that in this process today, I kind of want to circle back a little bit to when you were talking about the mental load and you were defining that mental load and what that looks like for so many people, which obviously plays into the part of the guilt and the shame that can come along with Mother's Day, right? There's just so much involved in being a mom that we carry that really big load. And then moms are like, well, and this is what I see happen on Mother's Day. Oh, I'm going to try harder, right? Like we're like,
Yeah.
oh, we have like this renewed resolve. Oh, I'm going to do better. I'm going to get more organized, like all the things that you talked about with the mental load. And I like, it's not the answer though. Like it doesn't help. What actually does help for people?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing that I don't know if it's societal or, as good pioneer stock, the way that we're raised, that if I just try harder and just pull myself up by my bootstraps and it's not like there's nothing bad that's going on. So clearly it's a me problem, right? So, but what happens if we can shift from trying to manage it better and realizing that what actually helps is getting out of your head? Because we solve all of these things in our head. If I had the right planner, if I had the right system, if I was more organized, then we think our way out of these problems instead of getting out of our head. And that's where I love doodling. And that's where I think it can become really powerful because I have lived the majority of my life from here up and everything is in my head. And it is through doodling that I have been able to shift that just enough to give myself space. And so that's one of the reasons that I love doodling so much.
Well, I'm like right there with you. It like I am head probably like not even chin up. Like
Right.
I'm eyeballs up. Like there's hardly any part of me that spends time down here. And maybe perhaps that's why doodling has been really effective for me, right? To your point, right? Like it's taking me from that space and offering me solace in my body outside of this, what can be the mess in my brain. So anyway, I think that's so fascinating and so interesting to look about. Um, okay, a lot of people right now are thinking, well, why doodling? Like tell me a little bit about that. And you just explain that, but maybe you could approach that for us and educate
Yeah.
us.
And I think, like I said, for me, my brain is a very effective supercomputer that never stops. It is going faster than my mouth can go. It's going faster than my hand can go. It is constantly on. And doodling is a way to shift gears. Uh, Number one, from the portion of my brain that lives in overthinking and anxiety and catastrophizing, it can shift to a different portion of my brain that engages different parts that slow down all of that overthinking. And giving myself enough time to slow down and look at things through doodles and through words and through images gives me a space and gives me more time to develop a choice, to be more intentional with the situation than just letting my brain run away with all the thoughts and all the solutions and all the problems and all the, well, this could go wrong and that's not going to work. I should try this. Well, that's not going to work. And if I can slow it down and give myself just enough space for my CEO to come back online a little bit more, then I have choice. And that's why I love Viktor Frankl and his famous quote, right? Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our opportunity for growth, right? Because that's where our choice lies, in that space. How we respond, and doodling gives us a chance to slow down enough choose a response rather than just reacting over and over and over.
And we love to have choices. Although, we also don't love to have choices. We want it to just be a certain way, right? We don't want to have to make choices. But choice is where growth happens. When we are in that space of being able to choose and be intentional, we have opportunity space. The word we use in our religious culture is agency, right? That's where our agency lies. And I love reframing that for people, because oftentimes we think that our agency is just, the things that we do, that, by choosing not to do this, but really it starts way before. It's in that space, like that quote of Viktor Frankl's, right? It's in that space right there where we get to bring our agency online.
Yeah. And I think of, in Second Nephi, where I know Elder Bednar has discussed it several times, the choice that we have, the example that we have in the scriptures, that we are agents to act. We are not put here to be acted upon. Sometimes we allow ourselves to be acted upon by our own brain. Like, my brain
All
is
the
giving me
time
all
for
of
me,
these
I
thoughts.
think.
Yeah, right? Like 98% of the time,
Yes.
my brain, I am being acted upon by my thoughts. And if I can slow that down and bring in some more agency to choose what thoughts I will entertain and what thoughts I'll be like, oh, there you are again, but you don't get to drive today. I get to choose my response. I become an agent in so many more areas of my life.
So good. All right. We could talk about the benefits of this probably all day, but I think for people listening, it might be helpful if you're willing to walk us through something simple that someone could actually try. That's something
Yeah,
you're
I would
willing
love
to
to.
do?
Yes, of course. And so, since we're talking about the mental load, I'm one of those that always jokes that my brain is like a computer browser that has like 27 tabs open, and there's a video playing on one, and I don't know where music is coming from on another. And all of these things are happening at once. And so, this is a simple little doodle that you can try. And it is literally just drawing browser tabs. So, just draw a little line, and
Okay. So for those of
you
you
can
who
do
are
this.
listening via podcast, sorry, if you're listening via podcast, then listen, I think she'll explain it to us. If you're watching
Yeah.
YouTube, you can get a glimpse, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's it. I'm going to walk you through it, and you can decide to do it now while you're listening, or you can save this and do it later. And actually, I will have a PDF with the instructions that you can
Ooh,
download and try it
perfect.
for yourself, right? So, you're just going to start across your page, and I just start with a straight line and draw it across my page. And then you can draw 6 to 10 tabs, and that I just laugh, right? Because on mine, I had to draw 2 lines of tabs because there are so many open tabs,
Okay.
right?
I have to tell you, anytime my husband jumps on my computer, he's like, why do you have so many tabs open? Like, that's so ridiculous. And now I'm like, it's just a reflection of my brain.
It's a reflection of my brain. Like, I have all of these tabs, or if tabs doesn't correlate to you, maybe for you, which is another signal for me, maybe it's Post-it notes everywhere. Like, don't forget this, right? So and they don't have to be fancy little tab shapes, just little rectangles along the top of your browser, right? Don't overthink it. Messy is perfect. That's why we love doodling. It's not about the art. So inside each of those tabs, or if you go with Post-it notes, just write or doodle a task or a responsibility or a worry or a looping thought that is happening for you. So for me, just some examples. I have exchange money, dentist appointment, packing list, dad's project, text reply, pick up prescription, dentist appointment. I have it on there twice, which just tells you how full my brain is. I'm like, oh, I already wrote that. Laundry, plan excursions. Am I doing enough? Flights purchased, finances, Mother's Day plans, wedding flowers, cell phone bill, make a payment. all of these things are just different tabs that are open. And that's just, the ones that I thought of in this little 5-minute segment, right?
Well, I
So,
think that the rest of it falls under the am I doing enough category that you just kind of
yeah,
happen to put it.
right? Be more patient.
Yeah.
All the things. This is the invisible load becoming visible, right? So awareness alone can start to soften the overwhelm that we feel. So now the next part is we are going to tag the type of tabs that you have open. So you might look at your tabs and you can see this is what I'm holding. And so this is our little acronym. We're holding, and we're going to look at what's on hold, right? So we're going to label each tab with a letter from hold, which are for things that are heavy. This is the emotional weight, right? Heart stuff, identity pressure, the am I doing enough? I should be more patient. Those are heavy. So we'll label those with an H. Ongoing. Those are things that keep looping and returning. Laundry, recurring tasks, those mental loops that we have going all the time. L is for limbo, right? There are some things on our list that we're waiting for input from someone or something else. They're paused. They're not in our control, but they're still an open tab, right? And D is for decide. Something that needs choice or clarity, schedule the dentist appointment. Okay, decide when that can happen. Make a plan and respond. So most women will be like, "Oh, no wonder I feel full."
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I've got my hand raised. Can I ask a question? Where would you put the things in my brain that I'm ruminating about? Like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I should have done this differently. And they stay in my brain for a really long time and ruminate and like rattle
I
around
would
in there like
say
a rock shaker.
those are like a combination of H and O,
Okay.
right? They're heavy
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're ongoing. Like I can't
Yeah.
clear them off my list.
Okay. So they're HO.
Always on my list. Maybe right now they are heavy because I'm giving some weight to them. But as I continue to look at them and work with them, maybe they just become O's, right? They're like, there it is again. It's not as heavy because I'm not giving it as much emotional power. It's just there as part of the background, right? But yes, thank you for asking because there's a lot of those, right? In our
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Thank you.
I love that. So just keeping in mind, right? Each of these tabs isn't just something to do. It's something you're holding. So choosing that, maybe it's not a letter, right? Maybe you have a little symbol that goes for each of them. Maybe the H is a heart or a little weight, little hand weight. You're like, yeah, this is heavy. Maybe the O is a looping circle. Maybe the L, limbo, is the pause sign, and maybe the D is a check mark or a fork in the road. What do I need to decide here? So it becomes less about labeling and more about seeing. Now, the last half of this, we want to circle the top 3 draining tabs. Not the most urgent, but the ones that feel like they're quietly pulling the most energy. And we want to decide to give each of those tabs a direction of those top 3. We're going to delegate, we're going to delay, or we're going to drop, right? So if you're going to delegate, maybe you draw a little doodle that you're passing it off to someone else. Maybe that is even passing it off to our heavenly parents or to the Savior. Just like these looping thoughts are really heavy. I need to delegate this. Like I can't carry this myself anymore. But maybe there are some things you can delegate. Like my kids probably appreciate more as adults that I delegated their laundry to them when they were in junior high. Like
They didn't
you
love
get them
it then.
dirty, you get them clean. But now that they're grown-ups, they're like, I'm glad I know how to do laundry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing a lot less of my clothes now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So maybe it's something that we need to delay. And again, we can use that pause symbol, or we can just put a hold on it for a minute. This doesn't, for me, like I have money for exchange, right? Why is that in my brain? Because my husband and I are going to Italy in September. Why? Why does my brain think that I need to order money from the bank in March or April for a trip I'm taking in September? Right?
It's just your lovely brain. This is how it works.
It's wonderful. It's efficient. And I don't need to worry about that today. So I can delay that little tab, right? And some things are things that I can drop entirely. I can just scratch them off my list. Whether or not my 20-year-old daughter makes a dentist appointment, not my business anymore. She's on my insurance. She can get it paid for. It's fine. I don't need to worry about it. That is her decision. And when she's back in town from school, she will do that. I don't need to hold that in the back of my brain. I can close that browser tab. I can drop it, right? So the very last step is at the bottom of your page. I want you to write, because I love, I choose, and fill in the blank. Maybe it is, I choose to ask for help. Maybe it is, I choose to let this wait. Maybe I choose to rest for 10 minutes. Or I choose not to carry this alone, right? This is not an act of becoming someone who does less caring. You're becoming someone who carries what matters with more intention. So don't rush forward, right? Just let it sit and let yourself look at what's there and choose, again, being that agent, how to carry the things that matter to you with more intention.
It's so good. Like I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I know this podcast doesn't come out for a couple of weeks, but like maybe I can just get her to send me the PDF right now because I need to get working on this.
There are some journaling questions that go along with the PDF too. So,
Yeah.
and they're simple. Simple and easy are not the same thing, right? But where in your life right now does it feel like you're carrying more than anyone can see? And reminders to our brain, ways that we can offer compassion for what we're carrying that we feel like we should be able to carry better, whatever that means.
Yeah, we're so good at thinking we should be doing something better or it should look different than how it looks, and it's just that adds to that constant loop in our brain, right? All of that mess that just seems to be running around there. What do you see happen for women when they do something like this?
Often it sounds strange, but they feel better. Like nothing has changed for them. But just this little exercise of awareness is a form of care for themselves. And from there, they can make one small loving decision, right? It is not a big, huge shift that changes everything. It is just a way that gives them a little glimpse of self-compassion that can help them choose more intentionally and choose themselves as well as choosing all of the other things.
Yeah. Well, and we use a scripture a lot here, but it's through small and simple things that great things are brought to pass, right? Like small moments like this where we bring awareness in is how we start to make shifts that we are wanting and we're praying for. How, like, this is, I think so many times we're praying for things and we don't recognize that, like, it's this sort of thing that gets put in our path that is the answer to our prayer, right? It's these small and simple things that are the answer for how can we find more peace in our life? How can we get more patience? All the things that we're looking for.
Yeah. And I love, actually, I'm like, where did I put it? I was preparing another workshop today and we were talking about this, and there's a scripture. I love to include scripture, and this is actually in Exodus. And I'm like, I should have had it pulled up already, but it just made me laugh a little bit because in Exodus chapter 18, verses 17 and 18, it says, "What you are doing is not good. You will certainly wear yourselves out."
Oh my gosh.
Like, of course, this is Jethro talking to, the children of Israel, but I just had to laugh. I'm like, God is like, what you are doing is not good. You are going to wear yourself out.
We should probably just like put that as a
Please
sticker
stop.
on our chest.
I'm like, I just need to make this as a t-shirt or, a bumper sticker. What you are doing
So
is
true.
not
Yeah.
good.
That cracks me up. Thank you.
I
Thanks for
just had
sharing
to
that one.
laugh. But yeah, I'm like, yeah,
So
I
good.
need that one to be a motto of my life.
Gosh. Okay. How does this fit in realistically in somebody's life? Like taking the opportunity to doodle, doing things like this? Because I can hear people saying, yeah, well, that's all fine and dandy, but I don't have time to sit down and do this. Because that's just one more thing I'm trying to add to my workload, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What's your response?
My typical response is, "You're right? Like, you don't have time for one more thing." And that's why for those who really just do not, I'm like, just give yourself one little doodle shape, whether it's a flower or a heart or a sunshine, that just is a way for you to speak to yourself that says, "I see you. I'm here for you. I know what you have going on right now," even if no one else does, right? But if you can give yourself some time that you can make space for doodling, even just 5 or 10 minutes, then it gives you just a little bit of a release, right? It is a way, again, to get into a different part of your brain. Now, we have learned through science that it's regulating for your nervous system. So you're actually changing your nervous system state when you do it, which most people are like, what does that even mean? But when you notice your body, you can feel the difference in your body before and after, right? And making space for that to become something that you offer yourself. And it's hard. It is hard because as women, I laughed today. Just this morning, I was texting someone and said, "Hey, can I push this back until a different day? Because in the spirit of the way I love to live my life, I packed more things than is actually physically possible for me to accomplish in these hours." And they're like, "Yeah, sure." Now, me 5 years ago or less would have been like, "Nope, just power through. Gonna show up for that appointment too. It's fine." But me of today, after several years of working with coaches and as a coach and doodling and journaling, I'm like, you know what? I can at least ask if it's a possibility for this to move. And I can give myself that space and grace.
Yeah. Such a gift. It's such a gift to get to a place where you can do that.
Yeah. And can I do it every day? No. But I did today. And that's progress.
Something that I've noticed when I have overextended myself or accidentally like double booked something, which I don't know how I do, but I do that sometimes more frequently than I would like. I feel like it always works out. Like something from like somebody will text me and be like, "Oh, hey, this isn't going to work out for me today." And it's like, "Thank you." Like, I just feel like if we're looking, there's little gifts that our heavenly parents are giving us in those moments as well. When we are feeling
Yeah.
that we're overextended, they're helping. There's powers that are helping us that we don't even recognize at times.
I 1,000% agree. Yeah. And I think part of that is, right, the gifts that we receive over time and the gift of developing my relationship with my heavenly parents enough and my relationship with myself enough that I can start to give that gift to myself. Like they're willing to give it to me, and more often than not, they do when I'm not willing to give it to myself, but helping me to grow in a way that I can offer that gift to myself.
So good. Okay, Michelle, like we said, Mother's Day, we know is coming up. What if somebody wants to go a little bit deeper? What if they maybe have a few minutes that they can share give themselves, in doing this? What can they do? Where can we point them if they want to have a little bit more?
Well, personally, this is exactly why I created what I call the Doodle Lab. So I have the Doodle Lab. We meet on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month, and we take an hour with one specific topic. Usually we have a monthly topic and two smaller topics, and it's just a really gentle space where I can walk through these exercises with you step by step so you don't have to do it all by yourself. You come exactly as you are. You can be overwhelmed. You can be unsure. You can be not creative. None of that disqualifies you in the Doodle Lab because in labs, we have hypotheses, we have theories, we have questions, and we are experimenting on the solution, right? We don't have to know if our hypothesis is correct. We're just collecting data. And the great thing about the lab atmosphere is scientists never do an experiment once. They experiment and they experiment and they experiment, and they might have new questions that come up and they might form new hypotheses. And then they experiment and they experiment and they experiment. You don't have to know how to do it right because there is no such thing, right? And so I would offer the listeners, I would love for them to join me in the Doodle Lab. And so one thing that I do have that I want to share as well is if they use the coupon Mother Load, not the Gold Rush kind, but the load that they're carrying, they can use the coupon code and join me in an upcoming lab for free. So like I said, we have every month there are 2 different labs and different topics that they might be intrigued by, and we would love to come and have us join us. And if they feel like they want more, right, they can join for an extended period of time. And I love that we have several that are just, they have an annual membership because then they're like, I don't have to decide whether or not to sign up for this every 2 weeks. It's just on my calendar. It's a gift that I gave myself for just an hour every other week to slow down and give myself a space to breathe and to just be with other women and realize I'm not alone in this. So I would love to have them come and join me.
That'd be awesome. I can't think of a better Mother's Day gift you could give yourself, or you could tell your husband that that's what you would like for Mother's Day.
You could. You could.
I think it's a great idea. Well, Michelle, thank you. Like I said, I'm excited to get my hands on the download for this as well. And like always, I feel lighter after visiting with you. Even it's pretty fascinating to me that even just thinking about those tabs and labeling them, I didn't even write them. And I know how beneficial it would be for me to actually write them, but even just thinking about it and categorizing it into those things just makes me feel a little bit lighter after having talked to you today. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Okay, Michelle, you shared that. How else can people connect with you if they are wanting to learn more from you?
Yeah. They are welcome to come to my website. It's just thedoodlecoach.com. I have a weekly email that I send out messages every week. I have a free community call once a month. You can find the information for that on my website. And I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, just Michelle Keil Coaching. So I would love to have you join me in any of those areas. And, I think the biggest thing is I just want women to remember that they were never meant to carry all of this alone. And that needing support is not evidence that they're failing. It's evidence that they're human. And so hopefully we can create a community of women. And I know you do such good work doing that as well, Heather. And so we're grateful for that. But yeah.
Well, thanks, Michelle, for being here. We'll link to all those things in the show notes so you guys can find them easily. And Michelle will be back again in a few months, I'm sure, and we'll get to hear some more from her. But until then, you need to go find her where she is. So have a great one, everybody. Thanks, Michelle. Hey, we just wanted to thank you for spending part of your day here with us at Latter-day Life Coaches and being part of this conversation. Share this with your friends so that you can have a conversation with them on this topic as well. And as always, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Have a good one, my friends.